Mounting the lectern, I pursue a few I flew I I flew a few capturing large scale verses and pronounced their and much more loudly than I should mean. The echoes snigger briefly back at the door. I sign the book, donate an Irish experience, reflect
Irish sixpence.
Irish experience.
Sixpence होगा.
Experience.
Beta, then correct this word. Then it is incorrectly written or it is misprinted. Sixpence is the point. Sixpence. Here we have a dummy.
Sixpence reflect the play was not worth stopping for. Yet stop I did, in fact I often do. Yet stop I did, in fact I often do, and always and much at a loss like this, wondering what to look for, wondering what to look for, wondering too, when churches fall completely out of use, what we shall turn them into if we shall keep a few cathedral chronically on show, their parchment plate and fix in looked cases, and let the rest rent free.
Okay. Would you like to take a few comments on church going? Would you like to take down few comments on church going? Larkin's dilemma in church going. Larkin's dilemma in church going is not whether to believe in God. Is not whether to believe in God. But what to put? But what to put in God's place? But what to put in God's place? He is concerned in the point he has said. He is concerned in the point he has said, comma, with now single quotation mark. Going to church, not religion. I tried to suggest this by the title. I tried to suggest this by the title. Dash and the union of the important stages of human life and the union of important stages of human life. Dash birth, marriage, and death. Dash that going to church represents. Full stop, single quotation close. Single quotation close. I have given you Larkin's own words about this poem, which you have enclosed within single quotation marks. I repeat, going to church, not religion. I try to suggest this by the title, dash, and the union of the important stages of human life, dash, birth, marriage, and death, that going to church represents. These are Larkin words. It describes in other words, a strictly secular faith. A strictly secular faith. Semicolon. His speculations about what churches will become when they fall completely. When they fall completely, rather than partially out of use. Out of use in single quotation mark. Lead him to a conclusion. Lead him to a conclusion in which the fear of death and the loss of religious belief are counteracted by an ineradicable faith in ineradicable ineradicable faith in human and individual potential. In human and individual potential. These what I have made you write. Let's come to the point. Once I saw there is nothing going on, I stepped inside, letting the door hard shut. Another church. Netting, seats and stones and little books. Sprawling of flowers cut for Sunday, brownish now. Some grass and stuff up at the body end. The small neat organ and a tense, musty, unignorable silence, brewed God knows how long. Hatless, I take off, my cycle clicks in awkward resonance. Move forward, run my hand around the font. From where I stand, the roof looks almost new, clean or restored. Someone would know, I don't. Mounting the lectern. Now what is lectern? Yes, that is also the place also, and let me give you the more exact meaning of the word lectern. A tall stand, with a sloping top, to hold a book or notes. To hold a book or notes, from which बेटा इसको कॉपी पे लिखो, जो मीनिंग लिखवा रहा हूँ आपको, आप किताब के ऊपर नहीं लिखो इसको. From which someone, typically a preacher or lecturer, can read while standing up.
While standing
up. So this lectern is very much like a rostrum, as we find rostrums in a class, and it is behind a lectern where the priest in the church stands and reads the holy text. And then there was another important word was peruse. To read something in a careful way. To read something in a careful way. Snigger, another important word. a half suppressed typically scornful way. Sorry, a half suppressed, typically scornful laugh. Yes, laugh, L-A-U-G-H. A half suppressed, typically scornful laugh. That is the meaning of the word snigger as a noun. Snigger is also used as a verb. Laugh in a half suppressed, laugh in a half suppressed, typically scornful way. This is snigger. Snigger as a verb and snigger as a noun. When you laugh scornfully, or we can also say when there is a mocking tone in your laughter. I peruse a few hectic large-scale verses and pronounce here and much more loudly than I had meant. The echoes snigger briefly. Now you do understand. The echoes snigger briefly. Then the echoes now express a scornful laughter. As I told you that the speaker is quite casual, who has entered the church. He is not a devout Christian who enters the church and performs any ritual with care and awe. No, we do not have that kind of a speaker. Rather, the speaker has not come to church for participating in any prayer. Instead, he just entered abruptly. He entered abruptly. And in first stanza, he quite disinterestedly and casually describes the long list of various items necessary for worship in the church. And if I rephrase my sentence, I can say in a better manner that the speaker catalogs the items used in the ritual of worship. Yes? And in second stanza, we move to a second level of the observation, where the speaker performs the ritual of worship in an absurd and non-serious manner. That is why echoes of his spoken verses snigger.
That is echo.
Of his spoken verses snigger. The word snigger is very important as it further qualifies the mocking and scornful attitude of the speaker. So you notice how we can talk about the language also, as I talked about, that the word snigger is important, as it suggests the scornful laughter. So the word snigger helps the poet in maintaining the insincere and non-serious manner of worship. Do you notice my language? I am speaking with a great care. Rather, I am trying to speak with a great care, so that I may not use a sentence which is not relevant or which might give the wrong picture of the poem. Back at the door, I signed the book, Donate an Irish Sixpence. So in this stanza, the speaker has performed the ritual, as I have told you, and I am repeating my point, in a very non-serious and a mocking manner. And he wishes to leave. And again, he stops as abruptly as he entered the church. He did not enter the church with a purpose. And when he wishes to leave the church, he suddenly stops. So his staying in the church is as casual as stay in the church is as casual as was his decision to enter the church. Do you notice? Even this very line is also telling you, is also helping the poet in maintaining that casualness, I think, which is present in the speaker. It's very casual. Generally, because try to understand. Christians do not enter the church casually, as we do not do in our mosques. When we go to a mosque or some other place which is equivalent of mosque, we have to we are expected to be serious, and we have a feeling that we are entering a holy place, and I have to be very careful, whereas this speaker of the point is completely opposite of that kind of attitude which a devout Christian is expected to have. A devout Christian would not behave this particular speaker is doing. You get my point. So, because the devout Christian would come to church with a purpose, and he would, for him, church would be a home of Christ, and he would perform the rituals of worship with great care and awe. But this speaker, on the other hand, does not come to church with an intention. Rather, he enters the church quite unintentionally, in a sense, quite casually. I think casually is the right word. And the third stanza, now we are moving to another level of the poem. Now the reflection begins, as we were talking last day, that the poet begins to ponder. Wondering, when churches fall completely out of use, what we shall turn them into? When churches will not be used, then what shape churches will acquire? As I have given you a small note also. You have written his speculations about what churches will become. Now the speculation begins. I think speculation is a more appropriate word. I was using the word ponder. I think even speculation is even a better word than pondering. Now his speculations about what churches will become when they fall completely. Yes. Now this series of speculation begins. If we shall keep a few cathedrals, but a cathedral is a major church with which bishop is associated. You must understand, by the word cathedral is used, not the church. Cathedral is the major church with which bishop is associated. If we shall keep a few cathedrals chronically on show, chronically, a factual written account, a factual written account of a factual written account of important or historical events in order of their occurrence. occurrence. O-C-C-U-R-E-N-C-E, occurrence. So, let me repeat, a factual written account of important or historical events in the order of their occurrences. So, chronicle means the factual record of some events in the manner they happened. So, the poet is speculating. Would they chronicle cathedrals in which they would keep their parchment, plate and pits in locked cases? Parchment. A stiff, flat, thin material. A stiff, flat, thin material made from the prepared skin of an animal. And used as a durable writing surface. In writing surface in ancient and medieval times. In ancient and medieval times. So primarily parchment is a kind of a page, yes, on which some manuscript is written. You know, if you have noticed the older maps were also prepared on parchments. The kings and queens supposed to have that big parchment. Plate and pix. Now pix, the container in the Christian church. The container in the Christian church in which the consecrated bread, the consecrated, C-O-N-S-E-C-R-A-T-E-D, consecrated bread is kept. The plate, you understand. So, would here, in this speculation, the poet thinks, would few cathedrals be preserved in the by preserving their parchment, plate, and pigs. Hold on. Do you understand a museum? Have you ever been to a museum? Means you are shown the coins of the great Badshah Akbar. These are the coins of Mughal Badshah, Mughal King Akbar. You are given you are even shown the swords used by the warriors in the past. Is it so? So that museum is also in fact chronicles, yes, the historical record of some event or of some instrument. So here the point is speculating whether few cathedrals let me rephrase myself, even to make this idea more accessible to you, not simple, accessible to you. Then we chronicle something. For example, if I say, let's chronicle this room, I mean to say that we should record this room in the form of a writing. We should write something in which we should preserve, we should write about the room. There was a fan, there was an energy saver, and let's say there is this chart. We chronicle chart, energy saver, and fan, so that we could show them to the viewers after 30 years, 100 years, that once there was a room in the Royal Junior School in 2013, and there was this room whose energy saver was like this, fan was like this. So that is the point. The poet is speculating. What we would preserve? That is a container which was used in the church. Fix for keeping the bread. Fix. What is fix? In which you put a consecrated bread. So that is preserved. Plates are preserved. Yes. And the third thing, parchment is preserved. Some page connected with the church. So that you could show to the future generations that these were the churches we had in the past. Yes? So that is the point. The first speculation is about keeping a factual record of few symbolic items of the church, so that in future you could tell people these were the churches we used to have in the past. You get my point? So that is probably can happen. And let the rest rent free to rain and shade. And what will happen to rest of the churches? You get my point? There would be a number of churches. Few churches, few cathedrals who are very important churches. They would be preserved. Have you been to Rohtas Killa? Why, if you ever visit this, it is preserved. Why? In order to tell you about the past. Yes, these are the remains of Rohtas tomb, and once this war happened and this happened, da da da. You follow? So he is speculating that few important churches will be preserved. Let's say there are 5 cathedrals in England, suppose. 5 cathedrals, the government decides, let's preserve them. Chronically, which proceeds first, which comes second, which comes later. The way they were built up. Correct? any purpose, what will happen to them? I think that is the inquiry. Would few cathedrals be preserved? By preserving their pyx, plate and parchments? And then, well, do not write it. Then students would be taken to visit a church as a symbolic of the past, and you would be shown their pyx. This church was built in 1800, and it was the pyx which was used, it was the plate which was used, it was a parchment on which few things are inscribed related to church. So, few churches would be preserved. And which churches would be preserved? Which are cathedrals. And what will happen to the rest of the churches? Well, and let the rent free to rain and sheep. And would we allow the rest of the churches to the sheep and rain? The sheep can come and graze, and rain can fall whenever it likes, without taking any rent. Shall we avoid them as unlucky places? Another, because speculation is continued, you have to use the word speculation. And speculation is taking the poet deeper and deeper into the business of knowing what church will become when they are not used. Shall we avoid them as unlucky places? If you have any Gurdwara or let's say temples of Hindus or Sikhs in your own mohalla, what is the stories being woven about them? Often you are told that that jinn रहते हैं महानी जाना. So you follow. Do not go past by that place. Or there is always a home in every mohalla where joints are supposed to inhabit. That's so. And as children, we also keep on scaring each other that do not go past by this home or by this fort or by any closed home, because we all presume that joints live. We are also told by our parents or by other people, and we also continue to spread fears. You know, one of the common quality among human beings is that they continue to spread fears. You tell me one fear, I tell that fear to someone else. And that gentleman or lady goes and tells someone else the fear. That is the chain of the fear connecting the society. We love to spread fears. First we are scared by others, then we ourselves begin to scare others. That's all. आपने छोटे बच्चे देखे हो, जीन बंद किसी को डरा रहे होते हैं. जो खुद जीन आते हैं तो उन्हें डर लगना शुरू हो जाता है. They themselves are afraid of the joint, but they themselves become joints to scare the children who are younger than them. So, speculation. I hope you have not written what I was telling you just a moment ago. Shall we avoid them as unlucky places? Would the church become an unlucky place? Or, after dark, will a dubious woman come to make their children touch a particular stone? Would some woman, for example, would this church become a place of superstitions? For example, let's say there is a pump anywhere particularly in the graveyard, yes, or somewhere else. You have stories about those pumps also, or those drains of water also. If you drink water from that pump, your cancer can be improved. Yes, your headache can be improved. Do we have these stories? So here Larkin thinks, no, not Larkin, sorry, the speaker of the poem, you will not say Larkin. The speaker of the poem thinks, probably, when some dubious woman would come to make their children touch a particular stone, Would some superstition be associated with some stone, and the woman would bring their children to touch the stone? Pick simples for a cancer. The simples, beta. Have you noticed the meaning of simples? No, sir. How obedient your class is. मीनिंग क्यों नहीं देखते हो? सर लिखे हुए होते हैं पहले किताब में, मतलब क्या जरूरत है? हाँ, सिंपल्स बेटा आ मेडिकल हर्ब MEDICINAL from medicine, medicinal help rather, I think the right pronunciation. A medicinal herb HERB, or a medicine made from it. So, simple means jadi booty, yes, some herb which can cure some disease. Pick simples for a cancer. So, would the cure of cancer would be associated with simples? Or on some advised night see waking a dead one. इस घर में भूत रहते हैं. Or would someone see, since there is a graveyard also in the church, would someone see a dead man waking at night? Power of some sort or other will go on. He is also telling you that how, for various purposes, church would be used after they have fallen down completely. See? He is meditating on the future of churches also. Would some woman bring his child to touch a particular stone to make his child blessed? Would someone pick weeds from here to cure cancer? Would someone see a dead man waking at night? Power of some sort or other will go on in games, in riddles, seemingly at random. So power without following any particular sequence would continue to reign here. But language is as if someone is talking to you. This is the colloquial element last year I was telling you. Okay. Colloquial, COLLOQUIAL, colloquial. COLLOQUIAL. Meaning of language used in ordinary or familiar conversation. Used in ordinary or familiar conversation. Not formal or literary. Not formal or literary. Are you hearing any rich crash which you heard in Henny's wells? Fox gloves reeds, mulch, long roots. Well, they are in Heaney's poetry. Huh? They are in the wells Heaney describes. Here, language is informal, and that is the language which is generally used in the ordinary conversation. As I told you, that the entire poem, you listen to a speaker, and this is the stylistic device I am telling you. Okay? You can be given a tough question by asking you to comment on the style of Larkin. Suppose. So you must know, when we talk about the speaker, about the symbols, about the language, about the technique the argument develops, in fact we are talking about style without actually using the word style. So we are doing both things. We are trying to approach the theme as well as the style. The structure of a poem. Is that so? If you look at the structure of the poem, in the first stanza there was an observation. In the second stanza there was observation was succeeded by description, which leads to speculation in the third stanza. कोई बात नहीं, मिस हो गया, मेरे सेंटेंस अगर मिस हो जाए पॉइंट पकड़ लिया करो, पॉइंट को खुद ही लिख लिया, कोड वर्ड बना के, ऑब्जर्वेशन, description, then there is performance, and then there is speculation. So each stanza is different from the each coming stanza is different from the former one. So you can find out a number of words like once and now, but superstition like belief must die. There you are. I think there is it's one of the most important things in Larkin. You asked me to talk to you, that the sense of passing time. If religion can die, if belief can die, then superstition can die too. He is also speculating how various attitudes are connected with a particular place. Beta, are you following the point? So superstition, which about superstitions he has told you in the last stanza. Pick simples, yes, for cancer, touch a particular stone, see a waving belt, various kinds of superstitions. Now he goes beyond the superstitions, because there is an end to everything. If belief can die, then superstition can too. And what remains when this belief has gone? And this is a very important question. What remains when disbelief, not belief? And now he questions. And now I think the tone has become serious. This is a very serious question. I don't think now the speaker is casual. Is it so? He was casual when he entered, and when he described the various items used in the ritual of worship, and when he performed a ritual. But now he becomes serious when he raises this question. When this belief has gone, what will remain in its place? What will remain? Grass, weedy pavement, brambles, buttress, sky, a shape less recognizable each week, a purpose more obscure. Is this? बेटा ये इनके सामने भी करो. Is this what would remain once disbelief has gone, when superstitions connected with the place are also over? Well, then what would remain? Again, there is a list, catalog. Do you remember? There was a catalog in the first paragraph, in the first stanza also. This is also a very important quality of movement poets. They give you a catalog, a long list. Give it up. Grass, weedy pavement, brambles are again thorny bushes, buttress. What is buttress? A structure of stone or brick. A structure of stone or brick. ये लिखते क्यों नहीं हो? यह है आपके पास मीनिंग? ये इसमें तो असल मीनिंग भी बहुत इनएप्रोप्रिएट दिए गए हैं. A structure of stone or brick built against a wall. To strengthen or support it.
Like a thumb.
Huh?
Like a thumb.
Or a projecting portion of a hill or a mountain. That is also buttress. Or a projecting portion of a hill or mountain. Give it up. Grass, weedy pavements, brambles, buttress. Would this remain when disbelief has outspanned? A shape less recognizable each week, obviously. When there would be brambles, there would be weedy pavements, grass. Certainly, if the shape of the church, the shape of this place rather, would become unrecognizable, and the purpose of coming here would become more and more obscure. I wonder, I love this speaker, I wonder. I think wonder has begun, speculation has begun from the third stanza, fourth stanza. From the third one. I wonder, who will be the last? Interesting question. Who will be the last to visit this place? For what it was? Who would be the last one to discover its main purpose? I wonder. Again, remember, central questions of a poem are in fact the thematic concerns. When the poet raises a question, it means he is telling you that he is going to tell you about the theme. Who will be the last one who would identify the purpose, the real purpose of this place? One of the crew. Again, the speculation begins. Through someone belonging to the group of people on ship, that tap and jot, and know what rude locks were. That tap and jot. What is tap and jot? You tap Tap is a device by which a flow of a liquid from a pipe or container can be controlled. There is also a tap. An instrument for cutting a threaded hole in a material, that is also tap. An instrument for cutting a threaded hole in a material, that is tap. Jot. Write quickly. Write something quickly. That's verb. Write something quickly. And the noun, a very small amount. One of the crew that tap and jot and know. Tap, I think you should note the meaning of the tap as a verb also. Okay. Tap as a verb. Draw liquid through the tap. Draw liquid through the tap. Or draw liquid from a cask, barrel, or other container. Or another meaning, to obtain information from someone. One of the crew that tap and jot. Tap can be used in both the ways. either who is expected to take information, or who would pour liquid from some casket in order to drink and jot and would quickly write it down and know what rude locks were. Rude locks refers to Christ, or they refers to part of the church. What is the purpose of rude locks? Your home task is you have to look for rude locks. What does Larkin suggest by rude locks? And he has coined a phrase because there is a dash between them. Some ruined Bible. Informal manner of speaking continued. Some ruined Bible. Ruined Bible, someone who loves ruin, who loves to inquire into ruins. Randy, enthusiastic for antique. Or would some lover of ruins, as often we find archaeologists, who often explore the past of the buildings. Or Christmas addict. I think now any mosque probably. Or Christmas addict. Ruined Bible? Some ruined Bible. Would some member of a crew? Some ruined Bible? Or some Christmas addict? Have some Christmas addict. Look at the phrase, Christmas addict. Counting on a whiff, a very faint smell. A whiff, smell that is only smelled briefly and faintly. An unpleasant smell informally. Whiff, unpleasant smell. Counting on a whiff of gown and bands and open pipes and myrrh. The myrrh is a sticky brown substance. A sticky brown substance with a strong smell. A sticky brown substance with a strong smell, which is used in making perfume and incense. You know, Christmas is a festival, do you know that? And this festival is certainly celebrated with gowns, bands, organ pipes and myrrh. Yes? So, would someone come who is a Christmas addict, who would look for the gowns, bands, organ pipes and myrrh? Again a catalogue, again a list, which is used in the past in the celebrations of Christmas. Or, this or is very interesting because we know right from the third stanza that speculation has begun. Yes? Will he be my representative? This is interesting. After weighing on various possibilities. Do you remember? He began from the third stanza. He, I think, began from the first possibility about the cathedrals being chronically put on show. Few cathedrals. Second, could it be used for superstition? Yes, fine, if I missed that. And then, once superstition becomes absent, then when disbelief becomes absent, then probably some member of the crew would come, some ruined Bible, some Christmas addict, or would he be mine? You know, the point has become serious, remember. And as if probably there is a moment of discovery, there is an epiphany, if you like, E-P-I-P-H-A-N-Y, epiphany. When there is suddenly a realization of the moment of truth, when you will read James Joyce, this important title of the work, Portrait of an Artist as a Young Man. So we know that James Joyce uses epiphany, but we can use epiphany. In other words, E-P-I-P-H-A-N-Y, epiphany. Yes. Suddenly there is a moment of truth. You know, when you read Larkin, you have to be very alert as a reader, because at any moment can be some moment of truth, some realization, some feeling, some serious feeling, some moment of grace. It can be somewhere. So probably here it is now. Probably there is that moment. Bored, uninformed. So would he be as bored as I am? Uninformed, knowing the ghostly slit. The religion compared to a slit. Yeah. Knowing the ghostly slip, dispersed, yet tending to this cross of ground through suburb, I think you understand. Yes. Beta, an area on the edge of a large town. An area on the edge of a large town. Scrub means to rub. And dispersed. So we are tending to this cross of the ground through suburb scrub, who would come from the suburbs of the city to reach this place, because this is the point. Why the whole poem is written, in a sense, not as in the whole poem is written. This is the moment of climax, if you like. This is the moment of truth which the poem reveals. It held unspilled so long and equably. What since is found only in separation, marriage, birth, and death. He says that any person who would be his representative would discover that church had held together the rituals of marriage, birth, and death. Socially the rituals are separated. The ritual of birth, death, and marriage. Three most important social rituals. They are separated. However, the church had held these three social rituals together. Because it had this place held. Unspilled, so long and equably what seems is found only in separation, marriage and birth and death. And thoughts of these, for which was built this special shell. So this is the discovery of the poet remember, this is the discovery of the social purpose. I would like you to take to the comment I gave you at the beginning. Could you please go back rather to the comments you wrote in the beginning of the class? What were those comments?
Going is not whether to believe in God, but what to put in God's place. He is concerned in the poem. He has said, with going to church, not religion, I try to suggest this by the title and the union of the important stages of human life, birth, marriage, and death, that going to church represents.
And this is the purpose, I think. This is the feature, this is the aspect he derives from that. He thinks that church is very important. He no more mocks church. He does not mock church now, rather he acknowledges that church has, I think now he calls church this shell also. This is very interesting. His mocking tone is continued so far as the phrase is concerned. Shell, special shell. Nevertheless, he acknowledges a very serious purpose of the church, which he describes as a shell, and that purpose is that it held together the various rituals or, in Larkin's own words, the various stages of human life, birth, marriage and death. So in a sense, this church has connected the community through these rituals, and this is the discovery. For though I have no idea what this accoutred frosty board is worth, the accoutre clothed or equipped in something clothed or equipped in something noticeable or impressive. Barn. Barn is a large farm building. Barn, B-A-R-N, a large farm building used for storing grain. Or, though I have no idea what this accorded frosty barn is worth. This accoutred frosty barn. Now, what this shell is worth? He is talking about the church. It pleases me to stand in silence here. Very important line. It pleases me to stand in silence. Remember, he entered quite awkwardly in the church and quite unintentionally and casually. And we have noticed casuality and non-seriousness in his attitude. And we know that he has not come to church to perform any worship. However, after discovering that church has held together this society through the rituals of birth, death and marriage, so he discovers some positive aspect, some affirmative aspect, if you like. There is a regular university question. Do you find any hope in Larkin's poetry? Or it is said that Larkin is a pessimist. Do you agree with the observation like this? You can come across that kind of question. I think there are moments of grace in Larkin's poetry. There are moments of discovery which can be connected with hope, if you like, with a sense of realization. भाई लार्किन आपको पता है लार्किन का बॉन्ड कब आपको पता लग गया मॉडर्न राइटर वो आपको उम्मीद इसका नहीं देगा लो जी नमक में पानी में नमक डाल के अब गरारे कर लें गला ठीक हो जाएगा राइटर आपको इतना भी कोई नहीं आपको सलाह मशवरा देगा क्लियर कट किस्म की होप को नहीं देगा ऐसे कर लो ऐसे हो जाएगा टोट का नहीं बता सकता वो और जब बात करते हैं ना आर्ट में is there any hope in bonds the sea? Even still, really, that he himself is rotting on the seaside. He can only hang and to think and understand. He does not have any very clear-cut solution. He does believe, well, he has to go on and to find answers to his questions. So, do not, when we talk about hope or something positive, you should not expect Larkin saying life is very good. Larkin would never say that. Huh? How you will discover hope in Larkin? Only through the moments of grace, through the moments of discovery, and through the realization, which are occasional in his poetry. And I am giving you, I hope tomorrow you would get the photocopy. I am giving you a very important article on Larkin, Philip Larkin and symbolism. It is by Andrew Motion. Andrew Motion is one of the most important critics on Larkin. Because I will not take you on Thursday, I will teach you tomorrow. So that on Thursday you can have an opportunity at home to read the whole article. There are references to a number of other poems of Larkin. And he would also tell you how hope means the moments of grace and realization in Larkin. Yes. That the social rituals, you know, Larkin has discovered some meaning in the church. That it has held together 3 stages of the community. Yes? Sorry, but marriage and death. And that is the purpose he discovers. If you ask me, what is the discovery? That is the discovery.
समझ आ रही है जो ऊपर से गुजर रही है
मैं तुमको इधर को आसान करके समझा, मैं उससे ज्यादा आसान नहीं कर सकता। मेरी बात आप समझ रहे हो? I can't risk that. I'm not simplifying. I'm just trying to suggest the process of the poem is the way it begins, it develops, and the way it discovers something, and the way it comes to the conclusion, the last part. देखिए, it pleases me to stand in. जरा आप वो पीछे जाएं जरा. I thought that the place is not worth stopping for. जाएं जरा पीछे जाएं, लाइन में होने का है. What was that line? I thought that the place is not worth stopping for. Yet stop I did, as I often do. And now he says, now comes back to the line where we were. It pleases me to stand in silence here. Now the silence also becomes meaningful to the thought. There is some adjustment which has taken place within the speaker and probably within the poem also. Suddenly some center is located, if you like, while speculating the speaker moving from one probability to another. He suddenly comes to realize the purpose, the communal purpose of the church. I think this is another important word. You should note communal purpose of the church. Church is important. Why? Because it holds together the various stages of human life. And there is another very important point by Larkin, which is the building. In that point, the building, Larkin, same is the case, Larkin finds new purpose in a hospital. He says that in hospitals, people can, although hospitals can't save you from death, but there is a paramedical staff which can take care of you. And then your visitors come to you with flowers. So in a sense, in that point, the building, and I would give you that point also, and you are expected to read that point, so that you would cross-refer to the point, the building, while analyzing church going. That hospital also plays an important role, as it provides at least comfort in the sense of the flowers brought by people to visit patients, or in the sense of the care taken by paramedical staff, that it has probably made death less bitter. So there he would also discover some new purpose in the hospital world. So here he also, I think, discovers. Can I ask you a question? Does he discover a religious purpose of the church or a communal purpose? Communal purpose, yeah. The church is important because it has held together the various stages of communal life. Death, birth. It pleases me to stand in silence, and I think for the first time the speaker is relaxed. And the tone is relaxed as well. And then a serious time the conversation.